Come on in, sit back and relax. You're listening to the WealthTech Today Podcast. I'm your host, Craig Iskowitz, founder of Ezra Group Consulting. This podcast features interviews, news, and analysis on the trends and best practices all around wealth management technology. My guest for this episode was Jeremi Karnell, head of Envestnet Data Solutions. I've known Jeremy for a while. I first met him when he was CEO of a company called Truelytics, which I thought was a really cool company. It's a data company, which makes sense considering where Jeremy's trajectory. It was a data company, and I think their main business was downloading the QuickBooks data from RIAs and then organizing it, normalizing it, and then building a database of all that, and then being able to provide more accurate valuation information for firms, which is hard to do. If you know anything about RIA accounting, every one of their QuickBooks setups is different. All their chart of accounts is different. So it's very difficult to normalize, even if you have a couple of RIAs and they're very close in how they operate. Their QuickBooks could be vastly different. So he did that, and that company was acquired by Envestnet in 2022, and since then he's been head of their data solutions there. So one of the things we didn't talk about this in the episode, but I like Jeremy. I went to Wabash College. I just like saying Wabash College. A big shout out to Wabash College alumni Jeremi Karnell. All right. So some things we spoke about include why decision intelligence, not AI tools, is the real shift in wealth management. We talked about how Envestnet is using data scale, knowledge graphs, and predictive analytics to support advisor judgment. And third, where AI is genuinely helping advisors today and where expectations still exceed reality. And speaking of where AI is genuinely helping advisors today, deciding which AI tools to get and how to integrate them into your tech stack isn't a task you should leave to chance. Whether your tech stack is well designed or a haphazard collection of software that kind of fits together haphazardly, it definitely needs work before it can best support any of the current AI tools. What you need is a plan for cleaning up your data and optimizing your tech ecosystem so you can take advantage of all the benefits AI has to offer. Now, Ezra Group can help turn your tech stack chaos into a competitive advantage. Our 60-day tech stack reboot is designed specifically for RIAs looking to take the first step in gaining control over their tech infrastructure without breaking the bank to do it. So if you want to free your firm for exponential growth, you need to run, not walk to our website, ezragroup.com, and click the golden Contact Us button on the homepage. Whether you're struggling to scale your business or wondering why your management reports take so long to generate each month, the experienced team at Ezra Group will help you design, optimize, and future-proof your infrastructure. We know what works at what doesn't. All right. Couple of housekeeping chores before we start. Please subscribe to the show, yada, yada. Check out our sponsor, the Invest in Others Charitable Foundation. I'm serious when I say this. Check them out, investinothers.org. It's a great cause. And if you are a software vendor in the wealth management space, you need to have your WealthTech integration score up to date. You can do that by registering at ezragroup.com/register, taking ownership of your product in our database, updating it with the latest integration information, so your integration score will always be up to date. Now, let's kick this thing off.
All right, I'm excited to introduce my next guest. It is Jeremi Karnell, head of Envestnet Data Solutions. Jeremy, brother, good to have you on the program finally.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me on. I know it's at the end of the week during the holiday seasons, and it's definitely it's very much after a holiday party we just had last night. So forgive me if I struggle. I know.
Yeah. You're paying the price for all the good friends you had.
1,000%.
I went to bed early last night.
Oh man, don't rub that
podcast.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
I'm shot out of a cannon, and I'm going to drag you along.
You're going to need to. I think you're going to need to. That's all good.
Where do we find you today, Jeremy?
Chicago.
Yeah. I recognize those buildings out your window, those car parks.
Those buildings, the first time I ever visited Chicago back, I think when I was 6 or 7 years old. So this is like the late 70s, to date myself, was visiting one of those buildings. The family had a friend in it.
For people who can't see, if they're not watching on YouTube, it's those cylindrical buildings in downtown Chicago with all the car parks at the first 20 stories. So it's all these cars in a circle. I always take a picture of it whenever I.
It's iconic. It's iconic. It's very cool.
Pretty cool. Cool. All right. So let's jump into things.
Yeah.
I think it would be a good start if you can give a 30-second elevator pitch for Envestnet Data Solutions and how that
Sure.
differs from the rest of the business.
Yeah, we get the advantage of processing the digital exhaust that comes off the $7.4 trillion of assets under management.
He
And
said it. He
so
said digital exhaust.
digital exhaust, I did. So take a drink. I know we said
Yeah.
this earlier this week.
You have to take a
It's going to
shot
turn
every
into a
time you say
drinking
digital
game. That
exhaust.
shot, absolutely. So I work with some of the finest data analysts, data scientists in the entire country, and we help Envestnet aggregate all of the institutional wealth data that fuels our platform. So all of the mutual fund ETF data, all of the brokerage data. Obviously, we have our managed account data. We stitch that all together. We make sure it's all reconciled. We pull that into both our business and decision intelligence models, and then feed all of that back to our three core segments, which are asset managers, wealth enterprises and their advisors, and RIAs. Also, I should say this because
Also,
this just happened this past week. The Envestnet data integrations team just got folded into Data Solutions. So they take care of all of the open ENV, the developer portal, all of the APIs that go back out to our customers as well as third parties.
so does the data integrations team now report to you?
100%.
So now
It's
I can
cool.
yell at you in the integration.
Yes, you can. You absolutely can. You'd be, well within your rights to do that.
The open ENV thing,
Yeah,
get working better. All right,
I know.
so
I know.
I wanted to thank you and the investment team for inviting me and my team to the consultants forum you had earlier in the week.
Yeah.
And there were a couple interesting things that came out of it. And you already talked a little bit about it, but
Yeah.
one of the things I thought was interesting was, and we've known a lot about your data intelligence, but data solutions before you
Yeah.
even got there. We've been working
Yeah.
with your team, the previous team, on what it should be. So I'm really
Yep.
excited to see it come to fruition.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the decision intelligence orchestration layer and how that's going to benefit Envestnet clients?
Yeah. So it's really interesting. Our viewpoint of AI and machine learning adoption within the wealth management industry is that it's very focused on episodic tools, things like AI note taking, et cetera. And we have, I think, a broader strategic view than that. We think that clients don't pay their advisors because of speed; they pay them for their judgment, and they are expecting those advisors to help them make some of the most important decisions of their life. And so Envestnet sits in a very unique spot in the industry, is again, from all of the data that we can aggregate, stitch together, and provide back to advisors as far as next best actions, so they can take the very limited time that they have and work with the broadest set of individuals or households in their book of business to present the absolute best thing that they should be doing with their portfolio, with financial planning, et cetera. So we help them make grounded decisions, again, very data driven, leveraging our client and advisor knowledge graphs, leveraging our propensity models, our predictive and prescriptive analytics. And so that's our perspective. And so we've created a really scaled platform that generates 25 million insights a day for our advisors, and we continue to evolve that. Again, building out our portfolio of machine learning based prescriptive and predictive analytics, being able to offer clients the ability to engage with that data through our agentic frameworks, to dynamically generate content as well as different views that may not exist within our API libraries, et cetera. And so we're just going to continue to build on that with AI explainability as we move into next year, as well as democratizing access to that data in native AI enterprise platforms, so they don't always have to log into UMP, Tamarack, or Money Guide or Wealth Data Platform to get their data. They can get it natively within Copilot or Gemini or Claude. So that's where we're headed.
When I rub my chin like this, it means I need you to take a break from talking.
You're like,
so I can
okay,
get a question in, Jeremy.
Got it.
I gotta fit a couple more
I
questions.
know.
in.
I'm sorry about that.
No, I'm just joking. It's all about you here, man.
It
It's all
is.
about you. So you said a couple great things that I was going to talk about anyway.
Cool.
So thanks for the answer on the decision intelligence orchestration layer. So talking about decision intelligence as a category.
Yes.
So do you see your competitors doing this? And will this become table stakes in wealth tech platforms?
I see some of our more advanced competitors, I think, headed down this path. We obviously weren't the first to market with this. I think that was like Morgan Stanley. But I mean, it just makes sense. So, it's interesting. I think our big fintech competitors are heading in that direction. I think the wealth enterprises and RIAs that are building out solutions are our hope is that they continue to depend on us for this, and I don't see any signs that they're heading down this path. They're again still very much focused on they're lagging in many ways, shapes, and form as far as innovation in this regard. And so again, which is fine with us because that's where we're investing our time and energy, and we hope they take us up on it. Yeah.
So a couple of things for people who maybe aren't up to speed. You mentioned knowledge graph. You have a knowledge graph of all institutional wealth data and propensity models. Can you explain what those are?
Yeah. So a knowledge graph is just like simply stating a big mind map. We've got all of these different entities mapped, and so those are all focused around financial products and services, and then we've mapped their relationships. So investor to investment, the assets to their specific portfolios, etc. And it's made up of over 100,000 advisors. So 1/3 of the industry makes up the advisor knowledge graph. And I believe it's easily over 12 million investor accounts. So about half of the investor accounts that Envestnet has. I think we sit on like 24, 25 million investor accounts. So at least that data represents about 50% of that, if not greater. And so that allows us, that's literally the cornerstone and engine of our propensity models and our predictive analytics. And so I'll put a finer point on this. So earlier in January of this year, we made some predictions based off of that knowledge graph. And those predictions, I think 5,000 of those top predictions predicted 90% they were 90% precise in predicting a buy transaction, and 98% of them were net new. And so, in particular, our FSP and SMA predictions, we made 15,000 of them. They were 98 and 99% accurate, and represented almost 70% of the net inflows for Envestnet in the first 6 months.
I don't understand when you say 15,000 insights and they were 98% accurate. Give me an example of an insight in the SMA world that was accurate.
They were just, again, they were predictions of which advisor within a specific enterprise or RIA was going to make a purchase of an SMA or an FSP product.
So you predicted certain advisors would.
We knew exactly who would do that. Right. We knew, and with 98, 99% precision in the first 6 months, we knew exactly who would do that.
And precision,
that represented
precision meaning just buying an SMA or the amount they bought?
Yeah. I think both, but it was.
I bought $1 or I bought $1 billion. That's a big difference.
Right. Well, I get that. We knew who was going to do it, and it represented 70% of the inflows into Envestnet. So whether or not we predicted the exact amount, actually, I have to go back and look at that, but we knew exactly who would do it.
So I imagine asset managers are very excited by that kind of data.
Yeah, well, that makes up our advisor engagement data product that we work with asset managers and also the home offices for wealth enterprises that are wanting to work more closely with their advisors around these topics.
Yeah, because if asset managers can know with some kind of certainty that certain inflows are coming in, that'd be very beneficial to your whole business plan, right?
Agreed. When we piloted this with BlackRock about 2 years ago, we worked with a mid-size broker-dealer and their advisors. And when we looked at the inflows in the previous 12 months for FSP and UMA and compared it to the 3 months after we launched, it was a programmatic approach to this. We had BlackRock wholesalers in the field engaging directly with advisors with home office support, it was 35 and 38% increase in net inflows in the first 3 months of that program versus what they were doing 12 months.
Because they were using the program.
Yeah.
And managed to
100%.
increase 35 to 38% the increase what they thought they were going to get from advisors.
That's right. That's exactly
using
right.
your insights.
That's right. And obviously, with great field support by the asset manager. In this case, it was BlackRock.
Right. But of course, great field support. Now,
Yes.
this is assuming certain market conditions. If the market were to crash tomorrow, all your predictions would probably go out the window.
Yeah, probably. Right. So taking like those outlier sort of black swan events into consideration, that would absolutely impact that completely.
So let's talk about a quick tough one of the tough questions for you. Right.
Oh, no.
So Envestnet has the innovator's dilemma, and that you've been so successful over the past 25 years, right? That you now have a lot of legacy infrastructure, and you're struggling to replace that. As all legacy vendors have that problem. So if you take the AI layer away, are there any other structural advantages you see that Envestnet has that a well-funded startup might not be able to replicate?
The data. It's the data. Like, there is no one on the face of this planet that has that size and scale, especially startups. And so being able to digital exhaust on $7.4 trillion of assets under management right there. That's what no one else has that we have. I know. Do it. Let's do it. Let's pass them out at Elevate this year or next year.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the data, great. Okay. So that is what they would have a problem with, and that is providing advantages to investors.
And Craig, it's good data. I mean, so that's the big thing that I think people are running into now. You got that stat where 90% of AI POCs are failing. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it is, I think there's a lot of factors that go into that. I think probably the biggest one is just shitty data. A lot of people just don't understand that AI needs really good data to be effective. And all of the data that we aggregate just goes through we are probably it's one of the strongest advantages we have is
the data cleansing.
Exactly. The reconciliation of that data, the aggregation and the reconciliation of that data at scale. We feed our AI models, our machine learning models, all of our deep neural networks and our knowledge graph on trade-ready data. Like, this is really good data. And so that's just a structural advantage for us.
So you mentioned earlier you generating 25 million insights per day.
Yeah.
And you've seen some predictions come true where advisors are taking advantage of those insights. But what about the insights that advisors are ignoring? So what does that tell you about
you slipped
trust
it in
versus workflow friction, Jeremi Karnell? What is going on? There's got to be something that they're not doing.
It is a good question. And
it's too early in the morning for you?
It is. It's early, but here's the thing. Like, we know the insights that they're acting on, right? A lot of portfolio optimization insights, a lot of tax strategy insights. The ones that they don't get to, we just don't know if they're ignoring them.
But you have to know. It's a Venn diagram, right? The Venn diagram on the left side, I've got insights that they act on, and then you've got the ones they don't act on. You should just know which ones they are.
I know the ones that they act on, dude. Right. You just got me the questions like 3 minutes ago, and I didn't have time to prepare.
But theoretically, if they didn't act on it, does that mean do you think, that's the wisdom of crowds, or it's something that maybe they're missing?
I just think it's time. I mean, I think I honestly think advisors today are struggling with the time to do the amount of work they need to do to service their book of business, and it's only going to get more acute because with as you know, the advisor population is shrinking. This first generation industry is going through a great transition. We're not going to fulfill those same service levels over the next 10 years to meet current demand, and so there's going to be less advisors in the industry that's going to have to service a bigger books of business. and they're going to have to start leveraging the tools in front of them to be able to do that efficiently and effectively. And so I think if they don't get to specific insights, it's just right now time. And we're going to have to help solve for that, continue to help solve for that.
Are you seeing any areas where AI is breaking down in real usage, where if the demo looked great, but when you pushed out to advisors, it just didn't work?
On our side or in general? On Envestnet's side?
Well, I prefer Envestnet side, but it could be anywhere.
Yeah.
If you want to throw someone else under the bus, it's okay with me.
I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. I want to keep this civil. No, I don't think I've seen that, because I think we're in the adoption phase right now, the early adoption phase right now. So it's not like we have some longitudinal view into something that hit the market. We've had enough time and tracking of that use to be like, well, that didn't work. Like, it's everyone right now is going through testing and compliance review of everything that we're doing. And so we're in early stages of adoption. So I just don't think we have enough data to be able to answer that.
How about
question.
Prompting? I see a lot of tools that say that we've got this great thing you can prompt and ask any question you want. And I don't think advisors are really great prompt engineers.
No, they're not. And so, but again, that's why you lean into AI. I think the chat experiences that we've built all come with 3 to 6 prompts out of the box that are contextually relevant to that advisor's book of business based off of our analysis. And those prompts dynamically change as they either select a prompt or give their own prompt. And we've got in the last release, we just released version 4.0 of the Wealth Data Platform last week. And that introduced a very robust agentic framework to what we're doing. And so I think it's made up of 6 different dedicated agents that all have very specific roles and receiving a prompt, researching the data for that very specific prompt, understanding the context of that prompt, generating a response, another agent that's dedicated to actually reviewing that response in detail. Does this make sense? Does this fit within compliance frameworks? Is this a good prompt before it even presents it back to the advisor? And it's just a system that will continue to support them in that endeavor as they leverage our AI.
Thank you for bringing that up. I wanted to get to that. So, what is the Wealth Data Platform? Why is it important for Envestnet clients? And you mentioned a couple of things, but what's so great about the 4.0 infrastructure?
Yeah. So we started building out the Wealth Data Platform about 3 years ago, and that was to really advance and move into a modern era. Kind of gave me a talk this morning. Our business intelligence experiences, and so it's a dedicated BI portal within the Envestnet WealthTech stack. We just and it services all 3 segments: asset managers, wealth enterprises, and their advisors and RIAs. The 4.0 version of this just finally dealt with our RIA analytics, and so we were able to move all of our Tamarac customers that depend on that into this new infrastructure. So every single segment now is in the Wealth Data Platform. Now, more importantly, we have been investing a ton of time and energy this year decomposing the Wealth Data Platform and seamlessly integrating it into the UMP, into Tamarac, into Money Guide Pro, into the proposal engine, so we can reduce the amount of swivel chair for advisors. So home offices, they are heavy users of our Wealth Data Platform. It makes sense for them to go into that dedicated experience. Advisors themselves, they've got limited time, and so we want to make sure that those insights are embedded in their daily workflows and requires very little effort of them to be able to, again, not only see them, but act on them.
We want this minimal effort possible.
Yeah.
Can you explain what these agents are? You said a lot of things that they're doing, but will the home office know they're doing it? Do we have to interact with them? Do we have to configure them? They just operate in the background and deliver data?
They operate in the background. So before, you were in my session at Elevate in Vegas earlier this year, and that's when
I only heckled you a little bit.
You did, just a little. They, at the time that we released Insights AI, it was it required a lot from home office users and advisors, a lot of prompting back and forth to get to a very specific outcome that they were looking for. And we wanted to reduce that workload for them. And so instead of them having to drive to the outcome through multiple prompts, we wanted to put into place a new architecture that had dedicated agents that are under the hood. No one needs to engage with them separately. We've got an agent that deals with a prompt. We've got an agent that will take the prompt and research. We've got an agent that is dedicated to generating the content from the prompt. We have an agent dedicated to reviewing the outcome of that before it's shared.
Yeah, so how is that going to help the clients? Like, if you didn't have these agents, what would
it's just giving better insights faster to the advisor. So it's less of a workload for them to go back and forth with the AI to get what they want. It's to give them the best output in the shortest amount of time possible.
Right, but they're not going to see like things running back and forth.
No, that's just how the sausage is made.
For them and say, that's exactly right. Craig, I got to do this for them. I'm an agent. And I'm doing some stuff on your screen for you.
Yeah, and it's us leveraging these agents in a better way. Like prior, the agent was really just focused on synthesis and content generation. Now we've got agents that are thinking and acting more proactively based off of the prompt and based off of the context of the insight.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, we are actually running out of time. Surprisingly, I know you're upset by that. You want us to go
I am. I'm so sad.
Very sad. So back to your the conference when I was in your panel or your presentation.
Yeah.
I thought the biggest benefit that you were talking about there was the AI dashboard builder. Because when you've got a dashboard and you say, well, we can build it now. Look at all these widgets. I got 1,000 widgets. And I'm thinking, I don't know which one to use. I don't know. You can ask the AI, I'm this type, I'm an operations person, I'm involved in trading. I'm an operations person, I spend most of my time in onboarding. Build me a dashboard that the things I need, and it'll do it. That I thought was really cool.
Yeah, it is. That's what we call generative business intelligence. And that is where prior to us putting that in place, it was a pretty, in order for a enterprise to see the data they wanted to see, and if it didn't fit within our 100 or so fit to purpose APIs dedicated to that business intelligence, then it was friction in the process. It would have been time and money. It would have been a professional service engagement to create something bespoke to them that no one else would have seen. And then that's tech debt for us. It takes people off the line. And so in order for us to continue to shift our focus predominantly towards decision intelligence, we wanted to leverage AI to pick up that work for us. And so we created an experience that allowed for natural language query, ask for a graph, a widget, a dashboard, any way you want. If we have that data, it will send that query. In this case, we're leveraging OpenAI's structured output to dynamically generate that API and real time display that data how they want to see it. So no professional services, no fees, it's instantaneous. And it gets us out of the business of having to manufacture that stuff. And so it's great.
Although you were in charge of professional services revenue, is probably not so happy about that.
That's okay, because all of our SaaS revenue and all of the assets we're driving to platform are going hyperbolic. So that's all we care about.
Okay, so last question.
Yeah.
Looking 3 years out, where do you see AI adoption in wealth management not meeting expectations, and where do you see it exceeding?
That's a really good question.
That's why we're on this podcast.
I know.
That's why I'm running this podcast, Jeremy.
I know. This is why you get paid the big bucks, Greg. In 3-5 years from now, I think AI is going to shine in helping to deal with the fact that advisors' time is going to continue to get more downward pressure on it, right? Mm-hmm. Less advisors, more clients to have to service. And I think at that time, we're going to see real adoption being driven into these tools, not because they're being forced into having to log into UMP or WDP or Tamarac or MoneyGuide Pro, but being able to just natively work within the environments they work within. Like, let's just use Copilot as an example. Mm-hmm. That's one of the use cases we're currently tackling with one of our large enterprise RIAs in Microsoft. Mm-hmm. Is is getting that data securely in their in the Copilot chassis, so that if they're in Outlook or if they're working within PowerPoint or Excel, and they're prepping for a client meeting, and or they're having to report back to the home office, or the home office is needing to generate content to help train those advisors and point them in a specific direction, that they don't have to go anywhere. Like, that data is securely within that environment, and they're getting to leverage multitude of different models. I think that's where it's going to shine. I think when it gets democratized like that, and is just part of like, it's not them thinking that they have to use AI. Like, it's already there, it's baked in, and it's just, I think there's going to be just huge adoption in that regard. Where it's going to fall short, man, I would be so resigned to make that prediction. I really, I'm so, like, here's what I hope happens. Okay, I think there's, and
what you should say is, it's going to fall short. It's never going to replace advisors.
Well,
the human aspect of it inside.
I'm not going to say that either. I think we're in this liminal phase right now where advisor is very central to this experience, and AI is a great co-pilot for them. But look at what's happening in the market, right? You've got traditional platforms like Envestnet or Orion or anything from Pershing. It's traditional platforms that are advisor focused, and that's driving AI and technology innovations down for adoption. And then you look at something like Robinhood, which is tech focused and AI focused out of the gates, and they are going to be bringing in advisor experiences as those young investors begin to accumulate wealth and need that. And so it's just, they're coming at it in two very different ways. I think you're going to see the types of clients that advisors have to service they're going to be AI native. Like, they're going to come to those meetings with their own co-pilot. And if advisors aren't leveraging that technology, they're going to see fee compression. They're probably going to see massive churn, because I don't think investors are just going to just run circles around them.
I agree with you 100%. And you've said it all, Jeremy.
Oh, thank you, Craig.
Tell everyone where you can find more information about Envestnet Data Solutions.
Yeah, go to Envestnet.com or search up the Wealth Data Platform or Insights Engine. Obviously, look me up on LinkedIn.
It's Jeremy with an I.
It's Jeremy with an I, and it's not my twin brher either.
Yes, I've had long conversations with Ian, who didn't tell me he wasn't Jeremy.
I know, I paid the price for that. I think I'd Elevate last year.
That's right. There you go. Well, if we stopped dressing alike, it would help.
Well,
there you go. Jeremy, you've been a really great guest. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's Craig again. Here are my top 3 takeaways from this episode. Number 1, decision intelligence beats out data point solutions. Most AI tools in wealth management are still episodic and disconnected, and from how advisors actually work. The real leverage comes from using data to guide judgment across portfolios, planning, and client engagement, all at scale. 2, data quality and scale remain the hardest problems to solve. Envestnet's advantage is not just the AI layer itself, but the depth, recon, and breadth of its data. Without that foundation, predictive models and AI insights quickly fall apart in real-world usage. 3, adoption will follow workflow, not novelty. AI delivers value only when it reduces time pressure and fits naturally into existing advisor environments. The firms that will win will be the ones that embed intelligence where advisors already operate, rather than forcing them into yet another destination or interface. All right, you reached the end of another episode of WealthTech Today Podcast. Thanks for listening. But before you go, head to our website, ezragroup.com, scroll up to the bottom of the homepage, and sign up for our newsletter. Once a month, you receive an email chock full of wealth management goodness, news, information, and updates. You will not be disappointed. Thanks again for listening, and talk to you all again next time.